Hello and welcome. This is the Flatwater Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Greg, and with me is the man himself, Josh.
Happy to be here on this wonderful Sunday.
We're all happy to be here. I wish it was Sunday again. We've got episode 3 here, third episode. We're clipping right along here. We've got a great interview for you. On the back end, we are talking with Caden Bye, Nicole Vawser, and Chance Guida. If I screwed that up, Chance, I am sorry.
Yeah,
got it.
You got it right. Okay.
Thank goodness. Last thing I want to do is alienate our guests.
Right.
But we've got some interesting stuff coming up on here. We are approaching what we're calling festival season, and essentially what that means, especially here in Nebraska, is we've got film festivals that are coming up, and obviously because we are a film festival, we like to keep track of what other film festivals are doing, not necessarily in a competitive spirit, but more of a how can we help support and get people to you? How can we be a word of mouth for you? Cross-promote. That's the word. I knew I kept you around for a reason.
Yeah.
But more along the lines of, film festivals shouldn't be a competition between each other, because we're not at arms. We're not going head to head with each other. We're all trying to do the exact same thing. We may have our own little niches as we sit in the market, but ultimately we want people to come and check out the films that we're showing, because it helps the filmmakers. So we're kind of that medium for them. So we're going to talk a little bit here about some of the festivals that are coming up as we kind of progress through our episode here. So starting on March 7th through the 9th, we have a brand new film festival that's come up. It is the Iowa-Nebraska Heartland Film Festival. Brand new. This is their first year. Yep. They're playing at the Corning Opera House over there in Corning, Iowa. We don't know a lot about them, only because this is their first year. Go ahead, Josh.
We had the opportunity to, a couple of us had an opportunity to chat with the
organizers
of that. The organizers of that festival. They came to Flatwater last year and had a conversation with a couple of us about just discussing, how we run our festival, and just to kind of get a feel and an idea of, I guess, kind of how to run a film festival. I wish I had Heather and Ebeth and Emily on to chat about that conversation and how that went. But so we got an opportunity to meet them. It's really nice to see that they came to the Flatwater Film Festival last year, had a really great conversation with us, and that something came from it. So the Iowa-Nebraska Heartland Festival is just Iowa-Nebraska based films. And I think that was kind of their thing, was it had to be Nebraska or Iowa affiliated. And the Opera House we saw some photos of it, is a beautiful little theater. And I hope that people, I've never been to Corning, Iowa. That's what it is.
Yes.
But I hope that people take the drive and go out there and see them. Tons of really great films playing out there also.
They just released their schedule, I think last week or a couple weeks ago, and we're scanning through that. A lot of great stuff. Couple films that have played through Flatwater. So that's exciting, and some other new ones that if we are maybe able to get our hands on, we can get those to play at Flatwater this year. So
so they have a website though, right, Greg? They have a website?
Yes. Yeah. If you go to the corningoperahouse.com, you'll be able to find out a little bit more information, ticket costs, what their schedule looks like, and things like that. But it looks like it should be a fun experience. We unfortunately won't be able to go this year, but we'll definitely be keeping tabs on them and I definitely want to get out there and check that out. Again,
go check them out.
It's not a competition where we're out there to support other film festivals, exactly like they came and they came on their fact-finding mission to talk to us. We were more than happy to give them any advice that we could, because we want them to succeed. We want them to be able to show films exactly like we are. So all the best to you, Iowa, Nebraska Heartland Film Festival. And go check those out. So
cool.
From rookie status film festival, we jump to high veteran status. Omaha Film Festival, playing March 11th through the 16th this year, and they've got an all-star stack of films playing. Last year was my first year going there, and I had a great time. I only was able to get to the Nebraska Shorts block, but they've got a great setup down there at the Exarban Theater. Just a really, really cool event.
Yeah, this is year 20 for the Omaha Film Festival, which is huge. I got to see an interview the other day with Mark Longbreak, who just kind of talked about where the Omaha Film Festival originated from, how they started, and just how it's grown from year 1 to year 20, and just the different ideas that have come out over the last 20 years, and what they have done really for not just internationally, but for Nebraska film is a really big thing. And they take time to put in, I think 5 of those 6 days have Nebraska blocks for shorts built in. And then they have at least one, if not a couple, Nebraska feature films. I'm going to miss the one. There's a Nebraska documentary playing out there, I think on Thursday night, that is getting a lot of attention, and I'm going to miss it because I won't get out until Friday.
Is it the volleyball one?
No, it's I don't want to even say the title because I'm going to sound stupid. And I looked at it. I've been reading about it. It's like the Flower Man. I'm gonna mess it up. So I don't want to mess it up because it's embarrassing for me, and I don't want to do that to anybody. So, but yeah, they give a lot of attention to Nebraska filmmakers, but they have international films playing out there all week also, and they all hit. So at Exarban, tons of stuff around there to do anyway. And their after parties are really cool. So
I always love that Exarban area. We worked down there for about 6 months at one of the companies, just as they were kind of building up they're rebuilding their area down there. It's just a beautiful location, absolutely beautiful location. So that's one you don't want to miss. Go to Omaha Film Festival. Check out their website for all their other information, omahafilmfestival.org. I goofed that up earlier. Don't goof that up. omahafilmfestival.org. And check out their schedule of movies that they've got. Check out what their tickets are and their after parties. They've got like writers workshops that go on throughout the week too, and they've got a whole bunch of stuff to do. So
ton of cool stuff.
Definitely worth checking that one out.
100%.
Our next film festival that we're going to talk about takes us up to the town of Wayne, Nebraska. Our friends up there at Wayne State. The Wildcat Spirit Film Festival is playing April 16th through the 17th. Now, this is a little bit different. It is a student-only film festival, but because it's coming out of the college, it makes a little bit more sense. But they've got a really cool thing going on up there. Josh and I got to visit up at Wayne State last March, I think. Yeah. And Dr. White showed us around their studios and all their equipment, and we sat there BSing with him for a couple hours.
Yeah,
about all the good stuff that's going on there.
They just built a brand new studio out there.
You're right, they did.
And what they had already was fantastic. So I don't know. I've seen pictures of the new studio. It looks like they have a pretty great setup. But the festival, it's for college and high school student filmmakers, which is really great because it gives student filmmakers their own blocks essentially. And we've gotten a ton of films from Wayne State at Flatwater every year. It's a, we try to put together a great student block at Flatwater every year. A lot of it's built on Wayne State, so we always thank Michael for sending those students our way.
Indeed, yeah.
But they make some good stuff. So
indeed, yep.
It's great to see high school kids out there making films and getting an opportunity to screen them on a big screen. So
that's, yeah, I mean, with how filmmaking is progressing, just especially in Nebraska, obviously we can't speak to the other states that surround us because we don't follow them as closely as we do, but filmmaking is easier now than it has ever been. Like, legitimately, you go out with some friends and an iPhone, you can knock that out. There's free editing software out there. Granted, it's not the best, but if you're out there just looking to have a good time with your friends, make a movie or something, excuse me, there's festivals that you can submit that to so that you can ultimately see that on big screens.
Yeah.
Definitely Wildcat Spirit's one of them. Flatwater's one of them. Shameless plug. But it's an incredible thing, and that's all that we're out here trying to do. Is we're hoping to support those next generation of filmmakers, and Wayne State's out there doing that too.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to get people to go out there and check out what's coming down the pipeline, what the next generation of filmmakers are doing. So again, that was April 16th, 17th. If you want to check out any more information on that, you'll go to wsc.edu/film-festival, and they'll have all that information on there for you.
It's a tough one to memorize. Good for you.
And then April 25th through 27th, another big Omaha one is the Benson Film Festival. Playing out there at the Benson Theater in the Benson neighborhood. I'm going to say Benson one more time.
Benson. If you can't remember, it's in Benson.
It's in Benson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. But again, another great film festival. We've worked together with the organizers of that one with Michael and Ben, and great guys. They put on a great event out there. We actually went out and volunteered with them. Again, just helping out where we can, giving them the support that they need, and they're playing some great stuff out there too and supporting Nebraska filmmakers.
Yeah, we'll be out there volunteering again this year, doing whatever they need us to help them get done. And it's really great going out and just like last year we got locked into a really great conversation with Ben just about general ideas on how to grow your festival and how to just do different things every year and bring something new to the table for your festival every year and just try things. It was a really great conversation with Ben. And he's like you said, him and Michael do a really great job. They're also, I think, an international film festival.
They are.
They play Nebraska films, but they play films from all over the place as well. So they also have really great blocks built in to the festival. And I didn't get an opportunity to go to the after parties last year because by the time I'm old. I'm tired. And those guys, I just know can pardon me under the table. And I was like, I'm not even going to try to compete with those guys. So they just seem like super wild and cool guys to go hang out with and party with after a festival. I just know I wouldn't be able to hang. So we're
going to do it this year. We're going to nut up and we're going
to give it a shot. So, yeah. So, but Benson's really great. They also, it's at a really beautiful theater there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Theater's so cool.
Wasn't it recently renovated?
It might have been. I'm not for sure, but the way they have it set up in there, it's not just like theater chairs. It's like there's tables and there's a cool like back area that wraps around. It's really cool in there.
Yeah.
So another really awesome film festival to go check out.
Indeed. Yeah. Again, April 25th through the 27th. For more information or accurate information, if I'm butchering that, go to bensonfilmfest.com. bensonfilmfest.com. So those are kind of the big ones coming up here in the next couple months. It wouldn't be right if we didn't mention the Flatwater Film Festival, as this is the Flatwater Podcast.
Yeah.
We're playing ours a little later, kind of more at the tail end of that festival season, September 26th through the 28th. You can get all information, flatwaterfilmfestival.com. We are accepting submissions right now. If you are a filmmaker and you have a Nebraska affiliation, pop on over to Film Freeway, get your film over to us so that we can view that and put it into contention for our 5th year event.
Yeah, it's going to be a great year. It's year 5. Already talking about a whole bunch of new cool stuff that we're going to do this year. And we want to make it a really, big year for Flatwater. Like Greg said, submissions are open. It's free. It costs you nothing. It is free to submit to the Flatwater Film Festival. And, the Rivoli Theater, I know we've mentioned this, before. Yeah. The Rivoli Theater is awesome. It's beautiful. The owners out there are fantastic people, and just the festival is a ton of fun, and it's just a really great weekend at Flatwater. So indeed, plug.
Shameless plug, not shameless. I don't feel any shame plugging us.
No.
It's our podcast. We can do what we want. Haha. That being said, before we shamelessly plug anything even further, we have an interview. So let's pop over. We're talking with Caden Bye, Nicole Vawser, and Chance Guida. They have all played Flatwater before, and so we're going to find out a little bit more about them. Let's go over. Hey, everybody. We are back, and we've got our next round of interviewees. We have Caden Bye, Chance Guida, and Nicole Vawser here to talk with us on the Flatwater Podcast. Thank you all for being here and chatting with us today.
Yes, thank you for having me and everyone else, I suppose.
Happy to see you.
Fantastic. So, first thing we just kind of dive into is how did all three of you kind of get into your filmmaking? Like, what jump started you?
Who wants to start first?
Go ahead.
Caden, jump in.
All right. What jump started my filmmaking stuff? So I used to live in Kearney, Nebraska, and there wasn't a whole lot to do. And they added like a really, what we would call a big theater at the time, but there's only like 4 theaters in there. And that's just kind of what me and my dad always did. We just went to the movies, and there was a Blockbuster, and he would always take me there. Like when Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull came out, he's like, "You're not watching this movie until you watch the first 3." So we went to Blockbuster, rented them, and then watched them all. And then just kind of progressed. And then kind of towards, I want to say, freshman year of high school, I started to like edit fan trailers of like Marvel versus DC or just these like random things. And I was really expanding like my creativity. And then once I started to realize that like filmmaking or video editing is something I'm really enjoying, I started to kind of pursue it. And Elbrian, one of my friends, he and I would always just film random skits, whether that's at like a grocery store or in the middle of class. We would just start filming random stuff, and it was just kind of from there on out, we were like, yep, filmmaking is what we want to do, and we haven't stopped.
Fantastic. Great story.
Yeah.
Nicole?
I know I come from like a theater background originally. I goofed around a little bit in high school and made some fun little short films or videos, but it was more of just a goofing around at the time. It wasn't until I got to college. I went to Nebraska Wesleyan in Lincoln and got my BFA in theater studies with a writing minor, and I was pretty on track to stick with theater until COVID kind of threw a wrench in things, and live performance wasn't as possible as it had been. And so we started kind of looking at alternative avenues for being able to still act and like create things. I also had a photography background, and so I worked at the Wesleyan marketing department as a videographer. And so I learned from YouTube University how to like use Premiere Pro and do a lot of editing stuff. And I pulled from my photography background to help me learn and figure out the ropes of video making. The first film I was ever in was actually a film of Caden's. He was working on a fan film of The Last of Us that he called Wayward Brothers.
Yes.
I believe that was at Flatwater a couple years ago, but I got to be a zombie in a chase scene, and then I also got to make a cameo as one of the characters from the video game Ellie as an adult.
Okay.
That was really cool, and I think that experience really got me hooked on doing film work.
Fantastic.
Yeah, for me, it was more so like back in like elementary school when like YouTube really first started like popping off. Me and my friends would just make like little videos to entertain our classmates, and I want to say like throughout middle school and high school, we stopped doing that. But then like one night I was working as an electrical apprentice, and I was just kind of like laying in bed, and I'm like, God, like what am I supposed to do with my life? And then like it just all hit me. And so ever since that night, I've just, put pedal to the metal and really started to take it serious and really try to build a career out of it. And yeah, I mean, ever since then, it's just been kind of a snowball effect, just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So the first thing that I really did when I was like involved in the film community here, I just reached out on Facebook, and Maverick Knox hit me up. I was like, hey, I want to help you. So he was really my like gateway connection to everybody else.
Nice.
He let me be the cinematographer on one of his short films. And that's kind of when I fell in love with the role of cinematographer. Just being able to produce like an image that is compelling is something that I love. So that's kind of how things started for me.
It's really
That's
interesting.
awesome.
It's really interesting
Go
that you guys. Oh, sorry, Greg. See, I told you I would shut up, and then see, I just like one question, and I'm like, oh, I got a question. Look at me. It's really interesting that you guys all started in different backgrounds, Caden directing and Chance in cinematography and Nicole in acting, but you all three are directors in your own right. You've all directed something. What was the film that brought the three of you together, that connected the three of you? The first film that brought you all together.
I can take this one over. So those two have been working together like previously. But when I got involved was with Psycho Money. Maverick actually was supposed to help him with camera stuff, but Maverick was like, hey, I can't do this. Do you want to come help? So then I was like, yeah, sure. So that's kind of how I started with Psycho Money, and then again snowballed.
I know Caden and I have known each other since high school. We kind of both ran in the theater circle a little bit there. I think we were in like a drama class together. That was how we originally met. And we weren't like super close then, but I reached out to him when I was seeing his production of Wayward, and that was how I got involved with that. And we both, I think, had an awesome experience on set together. And so Caden wrote a character for me in Psycho Money, and it's history ever since. We've been working on several projects together since then.
Yeah, they kind of answered everything that I could say. So shit.
That's really cool. Nicole, it's funny you mentioned that you went to Wesleyan. Did you happen to know any of the crew from Four Lights?
Yes,
I-21 was your film.
I do. A couple of them I think did go to high school with me as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A lot of them were in the theater department with me in college. I think they're mostly like a year or two younger than me, so they're a little bit after my time.
That's really cool. So good stuff coming out of Wesleyan, apparently.
Yeah.
So, Josh, you had mentioned that each of you have directed your own films, but when the three of you kind of collaborate, do you have roles that you gravitate to? Chance, I know you said you like the cinematography side of it, but being in the micro budget filming that we all do, you have to wear multiple hats in order to make your films happen. So how does that all work when you have a project that you guys want to work on?
I mean, obviously, I gravitate towards the directing side of thing, but I like to be more just. I feel like recently I've been really gravitating towards just helping out and doing whatever I can, because it takes multiple people in the indie film thing, and I really like with the farm reshoots. I really tried to also help Chance and just do all this other stuff, but then we reached out and got help from. I can't remember her name, and that's really bad of me. But we got help from someone on for a few days. But like I like to gravitate towards the writing side of things more recently. I've like really enjoyed writing as of right now. The next one I'm working on, like I'm writing with a few people, and I'm letting them write their scenes, and I'm just kind of making sure everything ties together, and I'm overseeing all of that. And I'm still writing my scenes, but. Yeah, I feel like writing for me is something I'm gravitating towards more now than I ever have before. So,
yeah, I kind of think of Caden as like the man with the vision, the spearhead of the project. Whether he's like mainly the writer, mainly the director, he's the guy who is gonna put this all together at the end, and he's the idea man. And then I feel like when I work with Caden and Chance, a lot of times I really, no matter what I'm doing, because I do a lot, I fall into that assistant director role kind of just by default, because I really have that like technical kind of control freak brain of like, do we have this? Do we have that? How are we going to time this out? Do we need this or that? Or, what's the plan? Let's figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I just love cinematography. That's I like being number two. I don't like being number one. I don't like to have all of that responsibility. I like the responsibility of making a good image, and
making sure
that's it.
Yeah, making sure the shots look pretty and lining all that up. Totally get that.
Let's talk about Psycho Money for a second. So Psycho Money was the first film that it's the first film that played at Flatwater. That was the first film that you guys played at Flatwater, I believe. And I remember seeing Psycho Money on YouTube and being like, I gotta find whoever made that film and reach out to them. Because Psycho Money had this like so Reservoir Dogs is my favorite. That's my favorite Tarantino film. I'll throw it out there. It had this like Reservoir Dogs kind of feel and tone to it. As far as I knew, that was the first film you had made, because I still have not seen Wayward Brothers.
That's okay.
But that's okay. But that's a big genre to tackle. Psycho Money for a short film. That was a big genre and a big piece to tackle. So how did that all, like, where did Psycho Money come from?
So before Psycho Money, we did Wayward, like you had said, and we had worked on a revised version of that where it was our own project. Like it wasn't a fan film anymore. And that had fallen through, and we were kind of stuck in a limbo state of like, what do we do now? And Elbrian and I are the co-writer, who also played Goldie in the movie. He and I opted in to kind of rekindle the bridges that have almost been burned with that Wayward production. And we decided to make a crime film. And we were like thinking about these ideas. And I told him, I was like, well, I like 12 Angry Men. And I wanted to do something like that. And he's like, well, I like Tarantino. And I was like, well, we both love Tarantino. So let's put these things together somehow. And let's just have like a group of people who cannot get along after a heist. And as we were writing it, it snowballed into like what it ended up becoming. And like, I wasn't aware of like how Tarantino would have felt until the final product, like in terms of editing, when picture lock had hit. And the script, like it's different than the final product. I mean, in terms of that location where they're fighting in the third act, that's supposed to take place in the place that the entire film takes place in, that warehouse. But when we were filming that, we were on our way that day and we got kicked out because we apparently didn't have permission. Like the director, had thought. So we ended up shooting at my parents' basement and made it like a makeshift construction zone. And yeah, it still worked out. But yeah, I would say we were just trying to make a film and have fun. And that was kind of the ultimate goal. And we succeeded. We had a lot of fun making that. And I'm happy with the film. I still watch it from time to time because it's just fun. So.
And Chance, that was you said that was one of the first films that you had shot. Like, was that like one of the biggest, like bigger films you'd shot at that point?
Yeah, I would say so.
I asked that because being a new cinematographer, there's a lot of movement and a lot of action, especially all those fight scenes and everything that you were shooting. That's a lot to cover for anybody that's been doing it for a minute. For a new person to come in and cover like you did, had to have been pretty like crazy.
So Caden's cracking up right now because he was actually the one that shot all of the action fight sequences.
Oh, shit.
I had somewhere else I had to be that day. So, but I mean, one thing that I always talk to Caden about is like I admire how well he shoots fight scenes. Caden is a phenomenal cinematographer when it comes to shooting fight scenes. Just the way he like moves the camera around and like follows the action is just so. I mean, that was all him. Honestly, I have more to learn from him when it comes to shooting combat fight scenes than he has to learn from me. So,
well, it looked really good, Chance. Congratulations on how well you shot that fight scene. And Nicole, did you have fight choreography experience going into that? Because did you do the fight choreography?
I did. One of the first shows that I did at Wesleyan was She Kills Monsters, which is, if you've never heard of that play, I highly recommend reading it. It's basically a Dungeons and Dragons play. Ooh. So it's the coolest thing ever. We got to do a ton of awesome stage combat with that, and I also took classes on fight choreography and stunt coordination and stuff. So I loved getting to collaborate on that with Mitch Gross and like Elbrian and Brandon Fiskus on putting together that elaborate fight scene that happens. And we really wanted to capitalize on kind of the different styles that these characters fight. Like Goldie and Marilyn have this almost, it's sort of a dance between them, the way they're kind of twirling and moving with each other as they fight, versus Mike and Mitch's characters are both just kind of brute force going at that fight scene. So that was really cool. I like getting to do that kind of stuff.
Sorry, Greg, I'm done stepping on toes now. Question.
No, that's okay. I'm enjoying listening to these. These are fantastic stories. I love them. Where am I at? Let's see. So you've got an idea, I assume mostly probably coming from Caden. You got an idea that you want to try and put to film, or from paper to screen. What does your pre-production process look like? What all hurdles and challenges do you feel like you have to go through when you're creating a new project?
Lots of editing and revising when it comes to scripts, especially the farm. We went through so many drafts of that because it's a brick of a script, honestly.
That is a great analogy.
Yeah, I mean, Caden and I both kind of write usually with an actor in mind for a character, so the casting kind of goes along with the writing process. I mean, the farm was probably our biggest project that we did like the most pre-production work on, with location scouting, and that kind of thing. but Caden is always like so gun-ho. He is ready to jump into filming at any given second. And I think I have to balance him out a little bit and be like, we need a little more time to prepare for this.
Yes.
I like having all my ducks in a row. Again, I try to keep things fairly organized, but I think we all work well in that way, that we balance each other out.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, if I didn't have these two people, and Albrian's not here, but if I didn't have him as well, like those three, I'd be gun-ho in it, and just like we might not even have a film made yet. Like it's they're so important and vital on that front, like especially in the writing stages. Like we all know that like our films have been like fairly big in terms of script, and locations are crazy in the script, but like with the farm, it was easy to like write that film because we had the actors in mind. We knew the locations weren't going to be that hard to find. It was all things that we could easily access. Like there's a diner scene that's in one of the cuts where me and Nicole are on screen together. That was fairly easy to find, and that was kind of like the thing that I'm gravitating towards more now. It's just when I'm writing and that pre-production aspect, is the locations. Yes, they matter in the script, but like I'm writing it to where I'm like, I know I can film this. Like there's a problem though with the most recent script of The Art of Killing Things Softly. Is one of the houses that we want to film in is a trap house, and we're like, we don't know where to fucking film that. So it's like, this is where that budget and distribution thing comes in handy. But like with Chance, with the rewrite of the farm, he's like, we need to do A, B, and C before we even begin filming. So we got together and we did the shot list. I was working on some storyboards, but that didn't really matter because we were so close to filming. But I mean, we were hammering out shot lists, and that was the first time I feel like we actually did it together. And it took hours, and it saved us so much time. I was so baffled by that. So
I mean, we shot list like crazy. Like we shot listed more shots in the shot list than we shot.
So shot
a lot
more
of
time.
shots in one sentence, but but you know, I want it to be as prepared as possible because, like, I mean, our crew, we had like people locked down for crew help, and like last minute they all just disappeared.
Ooh.
So like Caden, wasn't I supposed to have like an AC? And then we were supposed to have like a designated gaffer and stuff like that. But
yeah, we had it all locked down. I had them on the schedule. Like these people were set in stone for their own parts, and they just ghosted. So
like on the technical side of things, I mean, I had Nathan's help, but primarily like I was first ACing, I was camera operating, and I was gaffing.
All the actors really stepped up.
Yeah.
When we lost our crew though, so shout out to all of our actors in the farm.
Yeah. You guys had an amazing cast too for the farm. That was a really great group of people to bring together. And you said you wrote kind of with everybody's. Did you write with everybody's voice kind of for your characters? Like, did you have an idea of who you wanted to cast before you?
The only character that was kind of a recast was Megan's character. We had a different actor in mind that ended up not working out, but we actually ended up loving Megan in that role even more. Like she was kind of the glue that pulled the whole thing together.
Yeah, like when I watched the film, like I've watched it probably like 3 or 4 times this past week, but every time I watch it, I'm just like, I can't see anyone in that role but her. And like, that's how it is for everyone on that film. Like I knew exactly who we wanted. Me and Nicole knew exactly who we wanted for every character. And the moment Megan kind of came into like the space of like, maybe she could play this character, it was like, okay, I'm interested. I went with her to a 48-hour challenge, the Omaha Film Festival one. And we shot at like in Lyons, Bill Hedges' studio. And I talked to her the entire way there, just about the farm, getting her brain picked on everything. And I'm like, this is it. This is the person we're hiring right now. So
I want to.
Megan's also a Wesleyan alum, so I knew her from there.
Wesleyan.
Okay.
Everybody go to Wesleyan. It's a great place. I want to walk back just a second because this will kind of take us into our next question. The second film that played at Flatwater was a single day. So let's talk about where a single day came from and how that project kind of got. Was that your first feature film as a group? Was your first feature as a group? Okay.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Okay.
Don't say that. A single day still has like such a sweet soft spot in my heart. We definitely, I think we learned from that project that we needed to do a lot more in pre-production than what we had been doing. But again, Caden kind of had the original idea for that. He wanted to do something that was reminiscent a little bit of like Groundhog's Day, of like this repeating day, and then you realize that it's not the same day repeating. It's just this trauma routine that this character has gotten trapped in because of an experience that really hurt and was haunting him. Yeah. So we meant for it to be a much shorter project originally, like probably more Psycho Money length, but when Caden and I sat down and started writing, we just turned into little rabbit writers and the pages were flying out.
Yep.
And then it turned into a feature and we're like, how are we going to shoot this all in the span that we had planned out?
Yeah. And that was the first like feature that I've shot before Pigface 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really like, honestly, like me learning my camera and learning kind of a lot about my style and all that. So it was more so like, I think more so it was a learning experience for all of us than anything else.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, can we chat about it just for a second anyway? I know we don't want to talk about it, but
yes.
Let's talk about it anyway.
Yes.
You know, Caden, since you kind of brought that story, or that story kind of originated in your brain, where did that story, again, completely different from Psycho Money. So where did that one come from?
So, oh God, this is, I'll say it in the most vague way possible because it's still a little embarrassing, but I like to take moments of like that I've experienced and put it towards like sometimes in the writing, like the characters. And I've kind of delved away from that because I want to expand my knowledge and I want to like try to expand my creativity without pulling from myself directly. But this film was truly like, I had a conversation with a new friend and it was just really impactful. And then I wanted to kind of mirror that in a way. And then I was like, okay, well, I really like this conversation. How do I I want to make a film. Like, what do I do now? So then I came up with this idea of like, what if it was have you guys seen the I think it's Before Sunset, Before Sunrise. Mm-hmm. I think it's Before Sunrise, that first film in that trilogy, the Before trilogy. I was really, really inspired by that, where it's just two people talking throughout an entire time and you get to know these people and then it's over. But I was like, okay, I want to do that. And then I came to Nicole about this idea about a guy who meets this person she was like a waitress and they kind of like click and it's just a conversation. And they like, I think if I'm correct, like she dies in the end. I don't remember. That was such a very short draft. Like it was like, it was very early on in that pre-production aspect. And then we're like, okay, well, Nicole came in and she's like, let's do this. I'm like, oh, I like that. So then it eventually became more of a very personal project between everyone because there's aspects of things in that film that I'm sure everyone's experienced with loss and trying to like cope with like issues with friends. And that was just the heart of it. Just a real, like something that everyone can relate to. It's a real event in a lot of people's lives, just the loss of a friend or an argument with a friend that leads to like the separation in that relationship. So yeah, that's kind of where it came from.
Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That was the first time Caden and I wrote together.
That's true.
That was a really, that was just a really cool experience. I agree. I've written screenplays of my own. I just haven't gotten any of their feet off the ground into like the production part of things. But I really love writing about real, raw human emotion, relatable experience type of stuff. I live for the drama, only in my movies.
Don't we all?
But yeah, And if we're talking about, like kind of keys to things, like Megan ended up being the key to the casting in The Farm. Chloe, what I feel like was the key to the casting with A Single Day. I don't remember how Caden knew her, and she didn't really have much acting experience, but she came in and she killed it. Especially because she has like some really tough conversation scenes with Caden's character, and she really brought it. She brought the emotion, the realness to that character. Sometimes people with no acting experience end up being the best actors because they're not so in their head about things.
Sure.
Yeah, she was awesome.
I love the Chloe. She's great.
Yes.
So writing together for the first time, everybody's got a different writing style. How did you guys kind of figure out how to write as essentially one voice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
Go ahead, Caden.
I say our styles. I haven't read a lot of her scripts. Actually, I don't have one that I've read. So, but I know her writing style because of obviously we've written together now. But I'm very detailed, and she's good with dialogue, like and getting that like the crux of the emotion within the scene, and like trying to understand like, okay, here's the path that these characters need to be on in this particular scene. What's their motivation? And it helped me understand writing more when it came to The Farm, and then now the most recent project. Like it's just from A Single Day, and like seeing how she's writing dialogue in true like real moments between characters. It definitely like paved my way because I'm very detailed, and I sometimes my dialogue, and like I would say in A Single Day, like it could be a little cringy at times, but then she came in and was like, here's how we can tweak it and make it less cringy or more impactful for the later scenes or this scene in general. And so I learned a lot from her on A Single Day. That's what I'm saying. So
I really like co-writing things because it just helps so much to get another person's set of eyes on something, especially someone that you really trust, because at least for me, writing is so personal. I put so much of myself into the stories that I write, and so sometimes it can be a little hard to hear that constructive criticism, but I think my degree prepared me really well for that. And then again, writing with someone that you really trust helps with that, because they want the same thing as you, and they're also coming into it with the same vision and the same kind of like knowledge on it, versus having just a random person or some other person who's maybe not a writer come in and be like, oh, I didn't like this, or I didn't get this. I like having that open dialogue with a co-writer.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that you definitely need as a creative type, especially in the filmmaking industry, is you got to have somebody that is not just going to say, this sucked. Great. Why?
Yeah, I've gotten that.
I got to make it better. So, but no, that's an incredible thing. I know Josh and I have been writing together for
17 years.
Yep.
No.
And I don't trust him at all. So
I don't trust him either.
I wouldn't either. I don't know. Pig Face 3, I don't trust it.
I don't trust me at all.
That was all him. I had nothing to do with it.
Oh, okay.
So looking at the films that you put out, we've got Psycho Money, A Single Day, and The Farm, 3 drastically different genres. I'm curious. I want to put a pin in this to see what your next project is going to be like. But are you, when you create these, is it just kind of wherever it comes from, or are you kind of looking at these genres thinking, I'd like to make something like Reservoir Dogs, or I'd like to make a heavy drama, or I'd like to make a 2-hour, 45-minute horror movie?
I was gonna say, like, I was recently asked the question as to whether or not like I'm a horror filmmaker, and I find it funny because like going into Pigface, I told Josh, I was like, dude, I'm not really a horror movie person. Like I never really like watched horror movies because I mean like it's not because I was scared of them, it's because like I just didn't really have an interest in it.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason I'm dubbed a horror filmmaker now in Nebraska.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to do that to you. Nobody wants that.
Well, but like I don't like being tied down to a specific genre. I'm not a genre filmmaker. I want to tell whatever story I want to tell, whether that's horror, comedy, drama. It doesn't matter to me. As long as I'm telling a story, and entertaining people. So that's kind of my thing.
Personally, I don't like to be tied down to a genre either. I want to expand as much as possible. I could care less what genre I'm in, as long as I can tell the story within it, and then I can succeed and I have fun with it. I'm fine with it. Like The Farm was such a drastic change compared to like A Single Day and Psycho Money in terms of like the personal toll it took. Obviously, with all the behind the scenes shit that was going on with footage and all that, but like there were scenes where I'm like questioning, am I an okay person? Like, is this something I need to do? Am I wrong for killing these characters this particular way? And then like seeing it on set and then editing it, I'm like, guys, I'm not okay. Let's just be honest. But like with the next project, it's a black comedy with like horror and
dark comedy.
Like dark. I'm gonna go black comedy because I've been told by multiple people, and I'm like, all right, I like it. But like it's in a whole different genre on its own. Like there's so many things going on in that film that it's dude, I'm so excited for it. But like I love just expanding. That's the biggest thing. I don't care what genre it is. I want to do comedy soon, like a true comedy, stoner comedy. Get me there, I'll be happy.
You can do a lot of out of pocket shit with comedy.
Yeah,
It's a lot of out of pocket shit.
I know when I write, I don't usually seek out any genre, or I don't I don't really like come to the page being like, I want to write a comedy, or I want to write a drama, or I want to write a horror. The idea usually comes to me first, a lot of times in everyday life, and a lot of times right when I'm trying to fall asleep. So
That's the worst, isn't it?
The notes app on my phone is like constantly in use, but a lot of it is kind of just tucked away in my brain right now. Slowly, if I'm ever staring off in space, I'm probably daydreaming about some idea that I just had. But kind of like I talked about before, I'm really drawn to the dramatic type of stuff, which almost feels like a cop-out because comedy is so hard to write. You'd think comedy would be so easy and doing the dramatic stuff would be hard, but like you can't write stuff on a page and make it funny. A lot of times it's the actors that make things funny. The funniest moments always come from people just bebop and goofing on set. But yeah.
I feel like two things, Nicole, when you mentioned about like your ideas like coming to you when you're sleeping, that's one thing for me. But like it's whenever I'm driving from Lincoln to Omaha or Omaha to Lincoln, and I'll be playing music, and I'm like, this song makes me feel this way. Well, what about this story that could come out? So like I'll pull out like my notes app, or I'll pull out like Chat GPT, and I'll be like telling Chat GPT, put these notes down right now. This is what I have in my head. Please, I don't want to forget this. And then, or I'll record it on voice memo. And
okay, he records stuff like he's a podcaster.
I know, dude. I send like you haven't experienced this yet, but like I send 6 to 10 minute voice messages sometimes. I'm like, I should call at that point.
Minimum 3 or 4 minutes per voice message.
But when she talk about comedy, that scene, I'm spoilers for The Farm, sorry, but when Richard shoots Dylan and he's like, whoa, whoa, like I did not expect him to do that. And every time that movie's played, everyone has laughed their ass off. So that makes me happy. Comedy is great when it's unexpected.
Right.
Yeah, it's more so like you got to kind of write the blueprints for the actors to kind of improvise, I feel like, and then you just find the right one that kind of gets the best reaction. For me, like comedy, like I've always been like a huge fan of Charlie Chaplin, so like physical humor has been something that I love. I love to play with, is not necessarily the words, but the actions are funny. So like I think you can kind of see that in like my short film Nuts. Not a whole lot of dialogue in that, but you know, guy fighting with a vending machine is just kind of a funny thing to see. Same thing in like Piercing Vision. I mean, there was dialogue in that, but for the most part, the comedy was in the fact that like the actions were, everything was just taking place. Like that was me being a rebel against you guys, because I got horror and I was like, fuck this, I want to do a comedy.
Yeah. He's like, I am not a horror cinematographer.
So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a dark comedy in spite of this ruling.
It's how it was drawn. I'm sorry, we had nothing to do with that.
I
It's
want to
okay.
circle back to like music, like Caden brought up.
Yeah.
Music is so huge in writing for me. Once I have an idea and I commit to it, I'm gonna sit down and start writing it. The first thing I do is make a playlist on Spotify.
Yes.
And have that like on a loop. I saw a lot of people like, yeah. But one of the projects that I wrote for like my senior thesis in college was entirely inspired by Fall Out Boy. So so I had a whole playlist of like my favorite songs from the Fall Out Boy discography, and that just chugged out the pages for me.
It drives though.
Yeah.
Like if you listen to a specific song while you're writing a specific scene, and that song is pretty much telling you the emotion of that scene. I mean, just make like you fly through scenes, you fly through pages. It's crazy. I just started doing that. I don't know why I haven't been doing that, but yeah, I just started making playlists. So
Yeah.
that's cool though. With especially with going back to Greg's question about everything being a different genre, at least with A Single Day and The Farm, is there a central theme that plays through those films? And when I say that, like, I'm talking about, you know, if you look at A Single Day and you look at The Farm, you know, it's close friendships and, you know, like stuff like that. Is there like a kind of a theme that runs through everything, or?
For me, the first thing that I think of is people in general are not as black and white as we think they are. We really want to show that human nature is so much in the gray space between those extremes. So I think that speaks a lot to a common theme between those.
Yeah, and I feel like the common theme that I've noticed is that like not everyone, I guess not everyone's black and white, but you can't always put a mask on to hide yourself from everything. Like you're gonna explode. Like hiding the things that are going on in your life results in the worst outcome. Like if it's something super serious and then like people are prying at you and all they're wanting to do is just help, and it's like you're just pushing them away, and it's like you're gonna explode, and it's not gonna be pretty. And yes, like that's the case with like I would say with like Madeline. Like there's moments where she just fucking has an outburst on the characters and scenes. Like I think, hold on. Like it's similar to like Jonathan and that's my character's name in Single Day. Jesus. Like he's constantly being berated about things, and then there's just a moment where he explodes. And like Madeline, you see her explode when she's just trying to do something that matters to her. She's trying to cope with something in her own way, but the people around her aren't allowing her to cope. And there's a line in The Farm at the very end when Richard's like, I don't remember the line off the top of my head, but it has to do with grief. Like and he just calls her out on it, and like it hits hard because it's like, yeah, like once you look back on it, it's like, fuck, they're not really good people around Madeline. And that's like, that's the same technically for, I want to say Ryan for Jonathan in A Single Day. Like Ryan is a good friend. Yes. He's just trying to help Jonathan, but like, he's just constantly pestering him. And it's like, just let this dude deal with it on his own. But at the same time, there are moments like, okay, well, maybe you shouldn't be dealing it with that way. Like maybe get some help, please. Like let your friends kind of help in some manner. But like, I don't know. I feel like those are the two connections that I see. So
yeah, for me, I think like I'm surprised you guys didn't like touch on just loss in general. I think loss and like, you know, the idea that like, you know, people are, unfortunately, like some people are chapters in your life and not like side characters or like not full like story characters in your life. And I think dealing with that is one of the hardest things that anybody could do in life is dealing with the loss of somebody. And I think like that's the two main themes for me that connect those two movies is definitely like grief and loss and, you know, trying to move on to that next chapter without those people. Because it can be like bleak. Your future could seem very dark and foggy without those people in your life. So I think that's kind of one of the main themes that I recognized within the two.
Cool.
One last theme for me is that everything is not as it may seem on the surface, especially in the farm, because one of our like narrating characters, Madeline, struggles with schizophrenia. So she's a bit unreliable. We can't always trust what she's seeing or what she's feeling, thinking, saying. In a single day, it's revealed at the end that Jonathan has been perceiving his memory of a traumatic event way differently than how it actually happened. And then in Psycho Money, this theme isn't quite as present, but Goldie kind of flips sides all the time, and we don't quite know where his motivations lie. So there's a lot of mystery around his intents.
Do you intentionally write like shocking moments in your films too, Caden? Where you're just like, I know this is gonna punch people in the gut so hard. Because there's two of us, obviously the catalyst in the single day with what happens and everything. But there, and I'm not gonna say it out loud, but there is one moment in the farm where I was just like, it's just a holy shit moment. And I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a specific moment that happens to Elbrian's character. That you just don't see happening, or you don't see that coming. So do you write those kind of moments on purpose?
Yeah, sorry, I cut you off with the question. Yeah, I definitely write those moments. Like, I feel like with like a single day, like I knew from the get-go that this character, Samantha, was going to die. And I was like, I want to make it shocking. Let's reveal it. That's how we did with that film. And I feel like it paid off pretty well in the long run. And when it came to the farm with that character that you're mentioning, it got to the point where I was writing that character and this moment happened and the realization dawned on me. I'm like, I've reached an impasse. Your character's arc is complete. I literally cannot do anything with your character anymore. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I texted the actor and I'm like, hey, I have this idea. I'm going to do it, but are you okay with it? And he's like, yeah, I love that. That's fine with me. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're doing this. And for that shocking moment, it was so much worse in like the concept stages, like that, when he's, I'm not going to say what happened specifically, but like when he's puppeteering, like the original scene when I sent it over to Elbreen and a few other people, it wasn't just like, he's there. It's gone, no head, up into the nub of the neck and doing this with like a sock puppet. And I was like, that's really messed up. I had a person who could have done the mold of the head, but it was so expensive. So I was like, I will dial it back a little bit. And yeah, so shocking moments are very important for me. Like in the next film, there's a lot of shocking moments. And I want those moments to be earned. So I build the characters, their repertoire, and I want to build like their arcs as much as possible and just make sure that it hits. Because if it doesn't hit, then you're just doing it to do it at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
So I had the question and I lost it. That's awesome.
Well, we'll take over.
Yes, now it's your turn. Flip the script.
Well, I apologize if there's any weird moaning or groaning sounds coming from my camera. My dog is being very noisy. Yeah, I'm looking at you.
didn't even
I
notice
don't know if
anything.
it's picking up on my audio, but
No, not at all.
she's just,
No.
hey, come here.
That's
Come
awesome.
here.
Go ahead, Greg. If you got
You're
one.
being naughty.
Cute. What are you able to share about the next projects that you're all working on?
Yeah.
I'll let Chance go first.
I mean, right now, like, my life is pretty, like, unclear about exactly what is going on. I mean, I'm in LA right now, so I don't know what my future holds at the moment. So, I know you guys want me back for Pigface 4, and
I thought
The
you were
Artist
stopping at
Manufacturer.
3, Josh.
I am stopping at 3.
This dude's directing it over there. So he in fact did stop at 3. he's on to the
Doesn't
second
count.
trilogy now.
Josh is
Yeah.
the dictionary definition of never say never.
He's like the producers of the Fast franchise.
Yes.
You're gonna get to Pigface
Two
9.
pig, two face.
No. I'm stopping. I said I would stop. This doesn't count.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much down the pipeline right now. That's like for sure. I'm just vibing right now.
Sure.
You know, Josh and I kind of have a couple of things we've messaged about. A project with Matthew Keister. That's in the very early stages, and then
Yeah.
a separate like anthology project that Josh is working on. I don't want to spill too much beans about
all
that.
good. Yeah, I have a anthology project written that I'm sending out to different people to direct all the different stories for that. So that's kind of in the work thing, but
Yeah.
the one with Matt is gonna be super rad.
Yes.
Yeah,
Maybe
Super
one of
rad.
these days I'll get one of my own scripts off the ground, but I've been plenty busy working on other people's projects, so who knows?
Oh god, mine. Okay. So I have a new feature film, shocker, but it's called The Art of Killing Softly. And it has been in the works since a little bit of December, but it's me, Megan Mills, and Elbrian who are writing. And how that kind of, I'm not going to get too much into like how it came to be, but basically I had this idea about a guy who is a serial killer who meets a therapist who is also a serial killer, and they fall in love. And then I texted Elbrian, here's my idea. I have that idea as well. He sends me his idea. I texted Megan, I have this idea. Hey, I've been working on a script just like that. And then literally the three of us were like, okay, this is too coincidental. Let's get together. Let's start writing. And now we are 90 pages in, and we're close to finishing the film. And I have a log line. I would read it. It's in a twisted game of obsession and survival. A reserved therapist and a volatile loner form a deadly bond that blurs the line between predator and prey. And for fans of seductive allure of Saltburn and the explosive dynamics of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And it's shocking. Like, I talked about how like I feel bad about things for the farm and how certain characters like their fates. Man, there's some things in here I'm like, I wanted to do that. I'm writing it. I feel bad for it, but it's okay. Like I'll cope with it later on in life.
And I told Caden to keep it under 90. So
yeah, the first draft is going to be pretty long, but that's just how it's going to be. Yeah, we have the opportunity to get investors and hopefully get an actual budget. We're looking at making it SAG approved, so we're able to actually have a budget and get that shipped around. We're going to sell this, not really sell the script, but we're going to ship it out to people and see what they think, copyright and everything. But it has Megan Mills and Elbrian as the two leads, and it's really messed up, guys. Like, I'm sorry. There's like a death that happens in the beginning where I'm like, I know why that death is happening and it makes sense, but I'm like, damn, I thought Terrifier was making me grossed out.
Oh,
So
you have my attention.
Good. So, but I have short films as well. Horror short film, a legitimate horror short film that I did a short like story for a class. I'm just converting it into a screenplay, and I got to get these. Well, they're below me. I don't know where I am to them, but I'm gonna get these two involved eventually once I get that thing finished, and then it's like a 2-night shoot.
Nice.
So super simple.
Very cool.
Cool. Well, to kind of wrap it all up, right, Greg? We're at that.
Yes.
We're at that time, I think.
Yes, that is the witching hour.
What we would like to kind of do really quick to kind of wrap this all out is Psycho Money, Single Day, The Farm, The Visit, have all played the Flatwater Film Festival. So, and you've all been out there. What was your guys' experience like with the festival, playing the festival, just the weekend, the parties, all those things? What were your experiences like at the Flatwater Festival, Film Festival? Jeez, forgot the name of my own festival.
You can tell us we suck. We just need to know why.
I'll let Nicole go first.
Yeah, I loved it. I've been to other film festivals that can be really cliquey and really elitist and really not feel very welcoming. And Flatwater has always felt so welcoming. I love that Flatwater Film Festival fosters connections between people with those mixers. Really want to build a community where people want to help each other. Mm-hmm. You know, making that first introduction is sometimes all you need to be like, dude, yeah, I'm free this weekend. I'll come help you out. I'll come hang. Building that trust between people that, like I talked about with writing specifically, is so, so important to have, so that we want to share our projects with a wider audience, with a wider participation. So those are the things that I really love and appreciate about Flatwater Film Festival.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I love it because, like, I feel like if it weren't for Flatwater, people wouldn't be able to watch a lot of the stuff that a lot of filmmakers make in Nebraska unless it's on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of gives Nebraska filmmakers an outlet to be able to go and show their movies to people, and you just talk to other filmmakers. I think that's kind of the staple of Flatwater is just community. And I love that. I think there needs to be more film festivals. I'm sure, I don't know about other states, but I think every state should have their own version of Flatwater. Just because I think it's important to keep those like state kind of connections, like, and build those connections within the state. Because it's very important. I mean, I've met some cool people at Flatwater. You know, people have came up to me. Random people have came up to me at Flatwater and was like, "Hey, I love your work." Like that's such an awesome feeling. You know, so yeah. I mean, I would say like the opportunities that it provides Nebraska filmmakers is fantastic.
And it feels more celebratory of other people's work rather than competitive. We're lifting each other up, like Chance is saying, like, "Hey, I saw your thing," or "I saw you in this, it was great," instead of more of a competitive vibe of, "Man, I hope my project wins over that person's," or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like how long has it been going on now? 4 years?
4 years.
3 years? 5?
What?
You said
we're
walking into 5.
Yeah,
we're
okay.
walking into 5. Yeah.
I've pretty much been to all of them, I think. I mean, I have been, actually. I'm thinking about it. Memory shot, I guess. But every time I'm there, like I have such a fantastic time. It's like, I don't care, like, if people like don't watch my movie there. Like, I want to see other people's movies. I bring mine there. I'm glad that you even sat down to watch some of it. And I love that it allows for the little guys who shoot a movie on their iPhone to just show a film. It's nice because like they get to see that, like, oh, this is something I can pursue. Like the idea of seeing their film on a big screen, even if it's like 2-3 minutes long, shot on a phone. They're like, oh my God, like this is exciting. And like that goes into the community aspect. Everyone's there to watch everyone's films and just support, and they'll talk to you about your film, give the constructive criticism that they want. And like, that's so important at that festival. I feel like, because I've had people give me the nice like feedback. Like when after the farm premiere, bless her heart. I don't know this lady's name. I forgot about her, but she was talking to me so long after the film had ended that I'm like, there's people behind me wanting to talk to me. I go talk to my family. But like she was giving like good feedback and criticism, and then I heard that criticism later, and people left the theater not watching the full movie. That's fine. I don't care. But it's like it's just nice. And I think like the biggest thing for me is the connections, like Chance was mentioning, because I've gotten so many contacts from there, and everyone's so kind, and it feels like a celebration. Because there are films in there I know I would have never watched on YouTube, not because I didn't like see, like wouldn't click on them, because I wouldn't see them. They wouldn't appear. So now I'm giving an opportunity to see these people. Oh, like, how Josh, you're like, I want to know who made Psycho Money. I get to now be like that person at that festival. Like, I want to know who made that film. Before I'm ending my tirade here, but the stand-up comedy one that was there last year.
Oh, the headliner, yeah.
Yeah, like I talked to people from that film because I was like, I want to talk to you, and I think you were good in that movie, so let's chit chat, and that's important to me. Like, I don't care if the film's 2 minutes long. I want to know what you can do and kind of get your contact. So
the headliner was not 2 minutes long, bro.
No. You know what I mean? I'm saying I don't. Chance, leave. It's your time. You're frozen for me, by the way.
Oh no.
Whether it was 2 minutes or 3 hours, we want to know who made that film.
Right. Yeah. I'll give you guys a 4-hour cut of the farm this year.
Great.
I'll take up the whole day of Sunday.
The whole day.
We'll just give you the second theater.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. Thank you all, Chance, Nicole, and Caden. Appreciate your time. Thank you for chatting with us. Where can we find your stuff at? That'd be the last question we can ask.
You can find my. Oh, sorry, Caden.
That's okay. You go, I guess.
You can find my photography at my Instagram, Chance_Guida. You can find my film making in various different places on Caden's YouTube, on Josh's YouTube, on a lot of other people's YouTube, I'm sure. But you can find my YouTube under my name, or you can go to my website, chance-guida.com. So,
most of my work is going to be under the handle of Fanatic Films, but I would definitely just look up that name, not my name, because there's old accounts with my name that are just a bit cringy, because me in middle school making fun accounts. But yeah, Fanatic Films on YouTube, Instagram. I'm currently making a website. It'll be under that, and you'll be able to watch all of their content and from the links of YouTube, and then read my scripts. And yeah, that's kind of that's where I'm at.
And I'm kind of all over the place because I've had the honor and privilege of working with so many different people in the film community. Obviously, I've worked a lot with Caden, so you'll see a lot of my acting work on his YouTube channel. My personal Instagram, where I promote stuff that I've worked on or am working on, is Red Band Nerd. Don't make fun of me. I made that username in middle school.
Weird how those come back to haunt us.
I know.
There's a YouTube channel with me that's horrible, with a bowl cut, and I will never ever tell anyone what that is.
Don't diss the bowl cut.
You can find the little videos that I made back in like elementary school somewhere. I'm not gonna tell you where, but you can totally find them.
I'm just gonna tell you about them, and then you can dig yourself.
That's a Google deep dive.
Don't dig yourself.
Hire a PI to find Chance's old videos.
Please don't. Please don't.
Well, thank you all again for your time. Appreciate it, and we'll hopefully get to chat with you here sooner, if not at the next Flatwater.
Yay!
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll talk to Josh.
Thank you for supporting the Flatwater Podcast, produced in collaboration with the Flatwater Film Festival. To learn more, be sure to click the subscribe button and follow us on our social media pages by searching for the Flatwater Film Festival. You can also find us on our website, flatwaterfilmfestival.com. The 5th annual Flatwater Film Festival will be hosted at the historic Rivoli Theater in downtown Seward, Nebraska, September 26th through the 28th of 2025. The Flatwater Film Festival is a 501c3 nonprofit organization created to celebrate Nebraska filmmakers by providing a non-competitive platform to showcase their work, developing, promoting, and providing support for a stronger filmmaking community and fostering the next generation of Nebraska filmmakers.